Good evening, and tonight we have three matches that should help to lift some of the gloom that seems to be settling over football these days. First, a skillful and exciting battle as West Ham face Bolton Wanderers in our main match.
Holland supporting him well. Got on, getting it back to Holland. Played it first time! Oh, my goodness!
Also from the second division, goals and thrills as Sheffield Wednesday play Orient and Brighton against Manchester City.
Robinson very forward. This is Smith, Robinson again. Oh!
And tonight, as usual, all the latest news. Jim Rosenthal, first of all, with the major news headlines.
Well, Liverpool still can't lay that Arsenal bogey. They draw 1-1 at Anfield, and the champions lose ground on the top two as Aston Villa and Ipswich both win away. Villa at Southampton, where Kevin Keegan's hurt again. Fourth division Lincoln City hit 8. That's the highest in the league this season. And Rugby League's move south could be spreading. Crystal Palace have official talks tonight.
All right, let's make a start with West Ham against Bolton Wanderers. And for West Ham, the season really has started to blossom. Well up towards the top of the second division, still in the League Cup, and fresh from a stirring 4-0 victory last Wednesday in the European Cup Winners' Cup. It was certainly no hardship going to Upton Park today with its old-time friendly atmosphere.
Well, it's a good week to be coming to West Ham. The crowd are singing their famous bubble song, and indeed, it's a buoyant and bubbling crowd here today after that European victory in midweek over the Romanians, and there is good cause for optimism about the place. And indeed, what a reception then as the West Ham team come out, where at one end of the field, David Cross just can't seem to stop scoring goals these days. And with one more on Wednesday night, his total for the season is now 15. And at the other end, Phil Parkes and his defence have now gone 5 matches without conceding a goal. So the West Ham team today, they're without fullback Frank Lampard, who's injured. Paul Brush takes his place, and Paul Allen, recovered from a groin injury, is the sub. Still no Trevor Brooking, and West Ham expect it'll be at least another fortnight before he's fit again. Meanwhile, Bolton Wanderers, who also had a win in midweek against Preston, they field an unchanged side, and it's got plenty of experience to it. Brian Kidd and Alan Gowling in particular, and Len Cantello as well, and he passed a test on an ankle injury this morning. And in the Bolton side today, Peter Reid, who's been in dispute with the club and not playing at all, while he had talks first with Arsenal and then with Wolves that came to nothing. This is his 3rd game. The referee today, it's Alf Gray of Great Yarmouth. So West Ham in their claret and blue shirts get us away, attacking the goal to our right, Bolton in white. And really a question today of just how West Ham will react to their great victory over the Romanians in the Cup Winners' Cup on Wednesday night. It's a good start here with Holland, and pulled quickly off his line. And Bolton are not the easiest of sides for them to encounter. Should they take things a little bit easy? A side of great experience. Here's Terry Poole, who had a long spell with Huddersfield. Reid putting a backward header there. Watmore turning it on. Here's Martin. Cross. It's Watmore again. Now it's Devonshire finding Cross, continuing his run, but cut out well by Peter Reid for Bolton. Held there for Alan Gowling. Watmore laying it back here again for Peter Reid. Gowling again, a long shot, comfortably taken again by Parkes. A familiar face, Alan Gowling, Manchester United days, also Newcastle and Huddersfield. Paul Jones, Cantello only half getting that away, and the end, it falls for Gowling. Devonshire keeping it in. Here's Pike. Pike crossing it in, allowed to go a long way, and in the end it was Graham who got it away for the throw to West Ham. Mike Graham. Brush with a good long throw there. Bonds had gone there, and in fact a corner given. For this, Alvin Martin's gone forward. Billy Bonds is in there. They've left just Pike and Ray Stewart back. So Alvin Martin in there, the number 5. Devonshire with the corner, and Burke with the header away for Bolton. Neighbour. Oh, nice touch there. Neighbour and cross, and in there again. And Poole had to dive at the feet of the ball on the 6-yard line. But a lovely piece of play there by West Ham. The sort of ball coming in there from Neighbour that really tempted all the forwards to have a go. There it is, curling in there, and Poole diving there at the feet as they came in. Alan Gowling, and it's Billy Bonds getting it away. Kidd having it charged down by Stewart. Here's Pike. Neighbour. Oh, good control there. Holland supporting him well. Goddard getting it back to Holland. Played it first time! Oh my goodness! What a lovely move, and in point of fact, Cross was right in there. And Jones was so close to putting it into his own net, but what a beautiful 1-2 here. Goddard on for Holland and played in first time quickly. And Jones so near to putting it into his own goal. And Devonshire again with the corner. Billy Bonds played wide again for Devonshire. Crossed in once more. And now his neighbour lining this one up. But Cross, in fact, it hit David Cross. Martin. Bolton almost in a state of siege in their own penalty area. Still they can't get it away. Martin doing his best to get the cross in again, and Cantello in the end forced him into the corner. Good spell for West Ham, but still no goals with about 18 minutes gone. Jimmy Neighbour with the corner for them. Brush nodding it on. Devonshire. And now Cross. Charge down again. Here's Cantello. And in the end, I think they're quite grateful to get that back into the arms of Terry Poole. West Ham's throw. West Ham manager John Lyon, who said he wanted his side to show great respect and urgency today, and I think he's probably satisfied with both those conditions at the moment. Certainly West Ham look as though they mean business at the moment. Here's Neighbour again for them, and again Holland making that run and a free kick. And a handshake, which is worth pointing out. Just a quick word from the referee to the Bolton skipper, no more. And here are West Ham on the move again. A bit of space here for Stewart. He's going to drive one from a long way out. Cross. Oh, shot all over the ball. And a chance went away then. Reed beaten for the challenge there. Neighbour thought about the pass to Cross, but he was offside. And a save by Poole, putting it behind for the corner. And West Ham are absolutely rampant, and Bolton at the moment are staggering. save there by Terry Poole. And it's going to be Holland with the corner. Towards Billy Bonds, but he didn't get a touch. Stewart, yes, he got a touch there. Pike, Watmore really charging into him. And now Watmore with a long ball across here to Brian Kidd, and this could be dangerous. Carter's right in there as well, and it's wide of the West Ham goal. But if their concentration wavered for a moment, the right foot of Brian Kidd there and the swift counter-attacking by Bolton would make West Ham think again. Fairly well wide there. Reed's good ball there for Watmore. Here's Cantello, and now Alan Gowling. Space, I wonder what sort of use he can make of it. He's got Kidd right in there. And also Ray Stewart, who got it away to Goddard. Nicely controlled by Goddard. Short pass there for Billy Bonds. Again into the path of Goddard, but Walsh was marking him well, but he still found neighbour. There's the cross coming in. And there's David Cross. Superb save by Poole. Well, that was nearly number 16 on the sheet for David Cross. As Jimmy Neighbour plays it in there, Paul Goddard didn't quite get to it. Cross with a shot, a good save by Terry Poole. Right, here's Bonds. Pike. Dowling thought about coming, but felt that Devonshire was lurking there, and Devonshire's got inside them. And again it's saved. Well, Devonshire made tremendous strides there, but again Terry Poole was equal to it. Devonshire inside this time for Brush. Another good spell by West Ham. And Gowling going back there to try and stop him, but West Ham get the corner off Mike Graham. So Devonshire again with the corner for West Ham. Deeper one this time. Oh, it's there! This man here, Mike Graham, or rather Mike Walsh. What a most amazing goal. And let's see if we can fathom it out now. The number 6, Mike Graham, Mike Walsh is the man to watch. And there it is, going into the net, off the post. Own goal, Mike Walsh, the Bolton skipper. So 1-0 to West Ham, 39 minutes gone. I think the referee was taken a little by surprise. He was looking hard at the linesman, and it was a moment where he reacted as well. But as you can see on the replay there, a perfectly sound goal, unless your name happens to be Mike Walsh. Offside against Bolton. Straight at Kidd, and the ball is in the net, but the flag was up. Oh, what an embarrassing moment that might have been for West Ham. Because Billy Bonds plays the ball there for Kidd. You can see Watmore, though, is in an offside position. Good decision by the linesman. Seconds of the first half now then, as Gowling takes the throw for Bolton, the whistle for half-time, and West Ham deserving their lead, bizarre though it was in the way that it came, with that header by the Bolton skipper Mike Walsh. And what an irony for Terry Poole, who seemed capable on this day of stopping anything in sight, and then gets beaten by his own man. But there's no doubt that West Ham deserve their 1-goal lead at half-time, and a half-time score than at Upton Park, which is West Ham 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Wonders now attacking the goal to our right, who get the second half away. Just one game away from home at Shrewsbury, and they've not got a particularly good record in London or against London clubs this season. And a goal down here, lost twice to Crystal Palace in the League Cup, home to Chelsea, and then a fortnight ago away to Queen's Park Rangers. It's Carter way over the top. So a good defensive record for West Ham. And here's Kidd, beaten by Alvin Martin. Little touch through there for Pike, but he was challenged from behind by Graham. Devonshire. Got Goddard up, he's got Cross up, and he's got Neighbour away on his right. Neighbour flicking it in for Pike. Oh, tremendous goal by Pike! Well, he's entitled to being exhilarated by that one. He's hit some spanking shots this season, but he hit one, in fact, that led to a goal against the Romanians on Wednesday night. That was a goal out of the top draw. Neighbour playing it in, Pike at full belt, Poole at full stretch, in off the post. West Ham leading 2-0, with a goal within 2 minutes of the start of the second half. Scored by Jeff Pike. Combining so well, getting in behind them from Goddard's little flick. From one end of the field to the other. Kidd for Bolton. Graham. And here's Neighbour. Stewart. Neighbour again. Stewart, time to look up. It's fortunate for him that it bounced back here for Holland. And, well, that was an excellent piece of play by Jimmy Neighbour, keeping that in. And the cross coming in there towards David Cross. Thundering in there. His sheer power giving him that chance against Paul Jones. But unquestionably, Jimmy Neighbour, a really lovely piece of play here, because I thought that looked certain to go out. He jumped and kept it in, and then found this beautiful cross here, for Cross to come powering in and just knock it over the crossbar. Neighbour. Stewart. Cross again trying to get in there, but that time Jones beat him to it. Devonshire. Cross. The crowd are really enjoying this, and a corner given. Martin up in the attacking position there once again as Devonshire takes the corner again for West Ham. Aimed towards Alvin Martin, and in fact it might be David Cross, just wide of the post. In fact, Alan Gowling claiming an offside there, so he might well have been, in fact. First, hit with great power, less than a yard. Reed for Graham. And a corner for Bolton. Already taken as Graham knocks it in there. It was Pat Holland who got his head to that one. Cross trying to do the same. Peter Reed going right in there, playing it wide there for Neil Watmore. Great save. Reed, and another good save. Well, a double-barreled shotgun effort there from Bolton Wanderers, first from Watmore and then from Reed, and on both occasions Phil Parkes kept his goal intact. Not conceded a goal in 5 games, but this looked as though it might be the moment. Superb save there. And when Peter Reed puts it back again, Phil Parkes is equal to it again. Burke. That's a punt for Gowling. Just nicked off a West Ham defender to give Bolton the corner. Gowling came in. And Cantello again with his corner. Oh, he didn't really get that one. And it's been put into the back of the net by Kidd for Bolton Wanderers. Well, it's taken a long time for West Ham to concede a goal. Previously it had been 5 games without conceding one, and now Kidd has done the trick that others couldn't do. Here we are. Into the roof of the net, and Bolton at least have a finger hold back on this game. They're now 2-1 down, and West Ham know that there must be no other errors if they're going to take 2 valuable points from this game. But here comes Reed again. And that's a West Ham throw. Cantello is Reed. Suddenly West Ham are under a bit of pressure, and Bolton can sense maybe that a point is here to be saved. Burke tangling there with Stewart. Here's Kidd. Now suddenly the ball won't come West Ham's way. Parkes again, fisting with a little more length that time, which is maybe what he should have done the first time. There's Carter, maybe with a chance into the side netting, and West Ham were in terrible trouble again there. At least it was a good punch there by Parkes, whereas it wasn't the first time. But here's Carter as Parkes goes out again, and that wasn't far off. Kidd right in there, and suddenly you sense there's greater ambition now in Bolton Wanderers. A little bit of bite about them. What a lovely piece of play though by David Cross. He's had a terrific game, but in that case it was Graham who got back to hold him at bay. With a matter of 3 minutes left now. Brush with the throw. Here's Goddard, watched as he has been from the very first whistle by Walsh. Played it in here now for Devonshire. Played in here for Pike. Well, the goal he scored was from a much more difficult position than that. Good combination again here from West Ham, and again Alan Devonshire, who's had a marvellous game, putting it into the path of Jeff Pike. Bolton defender closing a little too quickly for him. Now Holland. Might come for Goddard. Indeed it does, and they've got a few up West Ham now, including Alan Devonshire again. If anybody deserves a goal, it's him. But he's not going to get it, and in the end it was Jones who put it away. Had a terrific game. And he thought that he pulled that one back for someone to add the formal touch for West Ham, but it was Jones, the defender. Here's Brush. And Devonshire again. The left foot cross coming in. David Cross there. And on the far side, Neighbour trying to get in. And a goal kick looking. Well, there have been so many chances for West Ham, but so far only 2 goals. And they lead 2-1. As we are now inside the last minute of the game. Kidd. Well, you wouldn't have thought the West Ham fans would have started whistling frantically, but they have, because they sense that it might be trouble yet. Reed trying to get it in there, but the flag was up, was it? It was a free kick. A matter of 15 seconds left, plus any time added on for stoppages. Pike finding Holland. Again, Stewart going on outside it. Holland going all the way through, and again a good piece of keeping by Terry Poole, and a corner for West Ham. Played it nicely there, and as Holland gets his shot in, knocked away there by Poole. Playing time added on. It's going to be Pat Holland with this corner for West Ham. And the final whistle and a final score. 2 points for West Ham. West Ham 2, Bolton 1. Phil Parkes beaten at last by that goal from Brian Kidd just before the end. But Kidd, the scorer there, which gave us a little flourish to the finish of this game. But Jeff Pike's brilliant goal right at the start of the second half, in fact turning out to prove the winner for West Ham, after Mike Walsh had put through his own goal in the first half. Well, certainly plenty of goal-mouth excitement, good value for everybody here today. And a final score then, it's West Ham 2, Bolton Wanderers 1.
No doubt about it, another enjoyable game, and it's worth saying what a good advertisement it was, not only for the second division, but for the game as a whole. The Bolton manager, Stan Anderson, paid tribute to West Ham. They look such a confident side, he said, and we didn't. And the referee Alf Gray weighed in by saying what a pleasure it was to be in charge. He said, incidentally, that the first foul in the game didn't actually happen until after 16 minutes. That's quite amazing. One other statistic you might be interested in, there were 30 corners in the game. That's unusual, to say the least. 22 to West Ham and 8 to Bolton, further evidence of West Ham's dominance. Even so, West Ham were annoyed, or at least their goalkeeper Phil Parkes was, by the goal that broke their record of clean sheets. Phil thought he was fouled as this corner came in, but my feeling is the referee was right, that Phil didn't jump with his usual conviction. It looks a very good clean jump there by Paul Jones, the Bolton defender, and Brian Kidd joyfully finishing off a very fair goal. But what about Jeff Pike's goal? Was there an element of offside about it? I think the referee felt there might have been, but he told me afterwards that he felt that nobody was interfering with play. Here's Neighbour bringing the ball inside. Lovely ball into the path there of Jeff Pike. And as he hits it, is Paul Goddard level with the last defender there? It certainly looks as though it may have been, but the referee said the player was not interfering, although he may have been in line with the goalkeeper there. An element of doubt, except, of course, that it was a really beautiful goal. And incidentally, West Ham report no injuries with their League Cup game against Barnsley coming up on Tuesday night at Upton Park. Well, coming up next for you, another thriller from the top of the second division as Sheffield Wednesday face Orient. There's some more goals and a controversial sending off as Brighton take on Manchester City. There's the news. And there's this old chap. He comes up after the break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. And for our second match tonight, we stay in the second division for Sheffield Wednesday against Orient. Wednesday fresh up from the third division, but they come to this one in 6th place. Orient, well, they're doing well again, and I can tell you we've already had quite a few letters asking when we're going to show them on the big match. Courtesy of Yorkshire Television, that comes up right now. Commentator Martin Tyler, Sheffield Wednesday in stripes.
Here's Mirocevic showing good vision. Taylor breaking ahead of Sterland. He ran into trouble in the shape of Bill Roffey. And then, to his obvious astonishment, finds that the referee has given Sheffield Wednesday a free kick for his tackle. Day organising a three-man wall. Jerrison now making it 4. Hornsby placing out the run, touching it for Grant. Mirocevic, Hornsby had stayed forward, and the crowd on that cop getting a good view of a neat piece of interplay from the set piece. Hornsby having touched it off for Grant. It's Mirocevic back for Hornsby again. but the shot was sliced wide. Grant again. Here's Johnson. Again looking for McCulloch. And this time he finds the corner. Andy McCulloch, who really is enjoying a fine spell in front of goal. And that's the sort of goal that strikers love to score, because it was a real competition between McCulloch and his marker Gray, and McCulloch got the touch. 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. Grant. Here's McCulloch again. This time Day denying him on the near post. Slipped through by Kevin Taylor. The angle was against McCulloch. Mirocevic with the corner. Smith. And that's Kevin Taylor. And Day was fouled as McCulloch went in. Mervyn Day confirming at half-time that the Orient players were upset that the referee was still talking to John Margerison when the Sheffield Wednesday throw-in was taken and waved play on. Effectively, from the Orient point of view, they felt taking Margerison out of the game. McCulloch's flick drops nicely for Kevin Taylor. Mirocevic trying to throw the dummy and then getting the shot in, which was blocked by Gray. Kevin Taylor again. Here's Grant. Mirocevic! What a dream start! Well, they may have discovered a new hero. He got his shot in initially, and then Wednesday looked to their left to build again. David Grant, a beautiful early ball, and Mirocevic, a perfect header. And Wednesday feel 2 goals to the good, but they can risk aggravating Andy McCulloch's knee further. And he goes off, and Ian Mellor. Mirocevic, who showed his vision again. Mellor. Taylor going to the near post. Mellor may well have to go it alone. Here's Mirocevic. Well, after really using the first half as something of a settling-in period, he's making a telling contribution in this second half. Ian Mellor half thinking about shooting himself, and Mirocevic this time getting his shot wrong. Wednesday pushing Sterland up alongside Mirocevic since the substitution, with Mellor taking over in midfield. Here's Bowles. Now Parsons. And Steve Parsons again, and Moores is in this time to pull the goal back, with Sheffield Wednesday half looking for offside. And Orient have begun to look more dangerous. Moores getting the first touch, getting it back from Parsons, and coolly wrong-footing Boulder. Here's Roffey. Wednesday pushing out, and that could be dangerous. And may well be yet. Here's Chidozie. Kevin Taylor is in pursuit, but Chidozie with a really emphatic finish. And that's the perfect answer from a player who's been on the wrong end of some fairly rough treatment from the Sheffield Wednesday defenders. He was onside, and there was but one thought in his mind from this moment, And the shot gave Bolton no chance at all.
Well, a point each for both clubs keeps them in the running near the top of the second division table there. In first place, Notts County, who had a good win today against Blackburn Rovers. Then come West Ham. Then Chelsea, who had that amazing 6-goal victory over Newcastle, the goals of which you saw on ITN tonight. Then Swansea, who won last night. Sheffield Wednesday we've seen, and Orient there, well, they are tucked in nicely there in, what, 2, 4, 6, 7th place. But now it's time for the national news from Jim Rosenthal.
Well, Arsenal's incredible run of success against Liverpool continued at Anfield, where Alan Sunderland broke his barren run with a late equaliser after Graham Souness put the champions in front early in the second half. Since last year's Charity Shield, Arsenal have played Liverpool 7 times and emerged unbeaten. And while Liverpool were dropping a rare home point, Aston Villa increased their lead at the top with a 2-1 win at Southampton. But the real drama here was in the first minute when Kevin Keegan, making a surprisingly early return after injury, was hurt again in a tackle with Alan Evans. Keegan came back on but needed 10 stitches in his right leg, but he still hopes to play next week. Villa's match winners, Tony Morley and Peter Wyth. So Villa on top there with 22 points, 2 clear of Ipswich, who've got games in hand and are still the only unbeaten side in the league. Ipswich won 2-0 at Sunderland with goals from Arnold Muren and Alan Brazil, but Paul Mariner limped off early again. Then come Liverpool. Forest, they drew 1-1 at Norwich. And Manchester United, who beat Everton 2-0 in front of the day's biggest crowd, more than 54,000 at Old Trafford. West Brom there in 6th, and 2 goals from Cyril Regis in their 3-0 win over Middlesbrough. And there was a surprise visitor at Meadow Lane as well today. There he is, where Notts County were playing Blackburn. This black Labrador appeared on the pitch and resisted all attempts to apprehend him. One of the linesmen joined in the fun, and that took a pretty nasty nip at him there before racing off round the ground for a minute or so, and eventually he disappeared up the players' tunnel.
Makes you wonder how the devil they get onto the field in the first place. Well, next, it's Brighton against Manchester City, and that's after this break. Welcome back again. And now we go to the First Division for Brighton and Hove Albion against Manchester City. Manchester City arriving with their new manager, John Bond, and a convincing midweek victory over Spurs behind them. Brighton going through a bad spell at the moment without a win in their last 7 games. Let's see what happens now, though. Pictures from Southern Television, commentator David Bobin.
An afternoon when both sides really need to prove themselves. Brighton, who've lost their last 3 home games, and Manchester City, bottom of Division 1, but who under new manager John Bond registered their first win in the Football League this season on Wednesday night against Spurs. Now for Brighton, Neil McNabb is still out through suspension, and at fullback Gary Williams is replaced by the Israeli international Jakob Cohen, who's making his home debut. But the man all the home supporters want to see in action is young Andy Ritchie, he too making his home debut alongside Michael Robinson in attack. Ritchie finally came to the Goldstone ground after the departure of Peter Ward, and there seems to be every reason for the supporters to share in Alan Mullery's belief that Ritchie, at 5 foot 10 inches and very nearly 12 stone, is just the man to add punch and bite to a rather goal-shy Albion attack. Manchester City, for their part, they're a side undergoing change. John Bond is on record as saying that he needs 2 or 3 more quality players in different positions, although after the financial wheeling and dealing under Malcolm Allison, there's no longer a seemingly bottomless fund of cash at Main Road. But despite that, in midweek he signed fullback Bobby McDonald and winger Tommy Hutchison from Coventry. They both play today, and he's hoping this weekend to clinch a deal with Bristol City for their defender Jerry Gow. So he may be forced to sell, and one player in this team who could soon be on the move is Steve Daly, still Britain's most expensive footballer at just under £1.5 million. Main Road fans are giving Daly a hard time at the moment, and he may well be glad of a chance to move if the right club shows an interest at the right price. The match referee this afternoon, Trevor Spencer from Salisbury in Wiltshire. He checks with the linesman, and away we go at the start of this so important Division 1 game. Brighton against Manchester City, and it's Manchester City in the striped shirts attacking the goal on the left as we look at it. Important game, very important for both sides. City, of course, on a little bit of a crest of a wave, having won their first league game of the season in midweek against Spurs, and Brighton keen to put their recent rather poor form at home behind them. And John Bond trying to put some sort of incentive and impetus into this Manchester City side in the early days of his tenancy at Main Road. For the moment, though, it's Tommy Caton on the ball. Back to Ranson, who puts it back to Joe Corrigan. City, of course, with unhappy memories of their last visit to the Goldstone when they lost 4-1 at the end of 1979. Lawrenson under that with a good deep header, looking for Ritchie. Ritchie not quite able to make contact. And in addition to the conflict between the two teams, all sorts of fascinating personal battles to be fought out there on the pitch this afternoon. Nice little dummy by Daly, and this is promising by City. They've got a great chance early on, and that's a super stop from Mosley. Kevin Reeves with a probably almost too casual side foot, trying to put it past Mosley, and Mosley just able to get back and keep it out. But so early on, City showing how dangerous they can be. Going across to Gary Stevens. Steve Daly couldn't quite get past Ryan Horton. And now it's Caton and Robinson in the chase, and Caton always favourite to win that ball. And already we've got a yellow card. Steve Daly involved in a little bit of back chat, I think, with referee Trevor Spencer. And the referee wants another word with him. Dennis Stewart trying to calm Steve Daly down, and you can see that he's not very happy at the moment. But despite that, his name in the book already. First booking of the afternoon. There's to be a free kick to Brighton, which Brian Horton, their captain, will take. Everyone pushing forward for this. Foster is up there. It's a good lively start to this match. That's Daly on the ball for City on the break. Stewart alongside. John Gregory involved in a little bit of an incident there, but it comes to Hutchison. Daly again. Ritchie's head in the way. That's McDonald, the other debut boy for City. And Dennis Stewart. Man of vast experience, looking for McDonald, but superbly cut out by John Gregory. And amongst the crowd here at the Goldstone Ground this afternoon, the former world middleweight boxing champion Alan Minter. There he is, right in the middle of your picture, and next to him on his right, although it's on the left as we look at it, is manager and father-in-law Doug Bidwell. Both, of course, great Albion fans. Power. Straight to McHale. Bad ball from John Gregory, putting Mackenzie away, and that's not a bad ball for Dennis Stewart. But again, Foster is there, just ahead of Dennis Stewart, and puts it into touch on that far side. Ray Ransom to Hutchison. Oh, that's a nice try by Kevin Reeves. What a nice twist and turn that was, and the shot, as he twisted and turned, almost surprised Graham Mosley, and Dennis Stewart so nearly came in on the rebound. Good bit of play and nice skills from Manchester City, so typical of their sort of play. Good chance to see that again. There's the shot. Mosley not quite gathering it cleanly, and Dennis Stewart was in there very quickly and almost put it away on the rebound. Now Gordon Smith on a nice surging run into the left-hand side of the City area. Good cross from him, just over the top. Nice run by Gordon Smith, man with 7 goals already this season. Love to make it 8 against City. See the skills that Gordon Smith has on this long surging run. He goes slightly wide though as he's driven away by Ray Ranson, but the left foot shot comes in and it's just over the top. McDonald trying to set Stewart away, but again Foster timed his jump to perfection. Brighton with only 2 home wins to their credit so far this season. They really do need to get back to winning ways pretty soon. And they must see this as a good chance to open up a gap on Manchester City. If they won this afternoon, Brighton would then be 4 points clear, but that's Dennis Stewart, and I was going to say a great save by Mosley. But in fact, players come back because the linesman's flag on that far side was up for offside. And just as I was saying that City could go 4 points behind Brighton, Dennis Stewart came in and so nearly proved me wrong. You can see there Stewart coming through. Despite Mosley's effort, it finished up in the back of the net, but he was offside. Half-time, the crowd figure came through, and it's another disappointing crowd for Brighton, just over 14,000. Sad fact is that they haven't yet notched up a 20,000 attendance here at the Goldstone this season. And that really is in vivid contrast to some of the crowds they were pulling in just a few seasons ago in Division 3 and Division 2, when they were regularly getting crowds of around 30,000. But just 14,000 have come here this afternoon, and it's a yellow card for John Gregory, who's involved in the incident with Steve Daly, and Steve Daly is being sent off. Well, that's quite extraordinary. Steve Daly booked in the first half, an early incident involving John Gregory and Steve Daly, and because Steve Daly's already been booked, the crowd there applauding it, but that is the inflexibility of the system at the moment in this country. Steve Daly has already been booked, and the referee, Trevor Spencer, has no option, but if he's going to book the man, he's got to send him off the field, having showed him the red card. That he does, and Steve Daly walks sadly away. A wave to the City fans away on his right, and City are now down to 10 men. Alan Mullery giving the clenched fist salute in the background there, telling his team they've really got to go now and put the advantage over on 10 men. But as we so often have seen in the past, 10 men are a formidable setup. They pose all sorts of interesting problems for the 11, and I'm sure their determination will be renewed by that very unfortunate incident right at the start of this second half. So Steve Daly off the field, and Brighton now will have no excuses if they can't win this game. Paul Power has certainly pushed even further forward than he was in the first half, playing almost as an attacker on that left-hand side. Dennis Stewart on the near side as we look at it. And Steve McKenzie in the middle. Jakob Cohen with the throw to Ritchie. Ritchie couldn't quite control it, so it's a throw to City. Ray Ranson. Donald is in space, but he elects to put it to Hutchison. Robbed by McHale. Ball just out of play. Dennis Stewart resisting the push from behind by Cohen, but he couldn't quite get away with that. So Dennis Stewart down on the ground. Jakob Cohen conceding the free kick to Manchester City. Kevin Reeves, ever present in the penalty area, always posing problems for the Brighton defence. Tommy Hutchison to take the corner kick. And City have pushed most people forward. Tommy Caton is up on the edge of the area. Little flicked header. Dennis Stewart! That's a good goal by City, and what a great way to strike back. Dennis Stewart, 8 minutes of the second half gone, and Dennis Stewart with a good firm header comes back in the best possible way after the tragedy of Steve Daly being sent off. The corner coming over. Little flurry of heads there. Dennis Stewart at the post just inside, and Mosley can't do anything. Well, he had a great first half, Dennis Stewart. He had the ball in the net. It was disallowed for offside, and Brighton's dismal home run is continuing. Really, Joe Corrigan hasn't had to do too much in this match to keep his goal intact. Certainly seems to have done far less than his counterpart at the other end, Graham Mosley. Nice control by Reeves. Even manages to get it back to Hutchison while he's on the ground. Ranson, yet again, Stewart's there. Trevor Spencer spotting the little nudge by Mark Lawrenson just on the edge of the area. So yet again, it's City pushing forward. Graham Mosley organising his defence. Tommy Hutchison over the ball, the two-man Brighton wall. And Stewart again! Oh my goodness! It's becoming almost too easy. Dennis Stewart is having a dream. Dennis Stewart with his second goal. 15 minutes of the second half gone, and Dennis Dennis Stewart really can't believe his luck. He had all the time in the world from the free kick. Look at Stewart there, climbing, perfect header. Mosley's nowhere, 2-0. Well, Dennis Stewart's having a great afternoon, and while all that's gone on, Ray McHale has gone off on the far side. Brighton have made a substitution. John Bond, who's sitting up in the stand there, must be delighted. Sitting next to Peter Swales, you can see him there. No expression on his face, but he must be a happy man. We're just about 10 minutes of this game to go. And it's really been a pretty sad afternoon for the Seagulls. Even the sun has now gone in sympathy. And a pretty paltry crowd of 14,000 here at Brighton. In fact, just about their lowest league gate of the season has seen the slipping, but they've got a chance there. It's in by Michael Robinson. In the second half gone, and just as I was saying, the crowd had nothing to cheer. They're back in with a bit of a chance. They come back to 2-1. A little bit of a flurry there, the ball coming back from the upright. It came back off the upright after Corrigan was beaten, and Robinson was there to smash it in. So Brighton suddenly back in with a bit of a squeak in this second half. They pull it back to 2-1. But they've really got a lot to do still. I was saying that the crowd of only 14,000 haven't had much to cheer. Well, they've had a bit of a cheer now. And the crowd surely will get behind Brighton in these remaining minutes. Mark Lawrenson very forward. This is Smith, Robinson again. Oh! Well, you don't come any closer than that without scoring, and suddenly Brighton have come to life. Just scraped off the outside of the post, a fierce right foot shot from Robinson, and just away from that post. So still Brighton maintaining this late surge, trying desperately to snatch the equaliser, to share the points. Brian Horton's up in there, they're all there. Tremendous heap of bodies, the shot in from Foster, well stopped by Corrigan. Ball knocked in from that right-hand side. When it finds its way through to Steve Foster, there was a great heap of bodies certainly in the penalty area. And the final shot coming in from Steve Foster there, and Corrigan doing well to stop it. Meanwhile, back live, Gordon Smith is in there, a desperate interception by Ray Ranson. And we're into the last minute or so of the match, and Brighton haven't given up yet. They're looking with all their worth for the equaliser. That's Cohen, but a bad one to Stewart. And at this stage of the game, I guess the 10 men of Manchester City will be delighted to hook it away almost anywhere. 2 points are a pretty rare experience at Main Road these days. But at the moment, they look like they're heading for their first away win of the season. Again, McDonald happy to hoof it right into the crowd here. And Jakob Cohen will take the throw to Peter O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan appealing for somebody to make the run. Back to Cohen. That's Smith. And it's Ray Ranson conceding yet another corner. Lawrenson running to take it. A last chance surely for Brighton. The corner floated over. A vital touch by Corrigan. He did well, did Joe Corrigan, to just palm that away. And the final header was into the side netting.
2-1 to City. What a week then for John Bond. He's bought 2 players, he's on the point of buying another, Jerry Gow, and he's won 2 matches with his new club. But what about that sending off?
Steve Daly.
Well, I thought that was a little bit unfortunate for Steve. I mean, I don't condone what he does at all in terms of kicking the ball away and saying something to the referee. I don't think that's right, but I think that was a little bit unfortunate for the boy today. I got the impression that the referee half got his card out and then realised that he'd already booked him, and really I think he wanted then, but he'd made up his mind and he couldn't go back. He really wanted not to send him off, and I thought it was a bit unfortunate, but after saying all that, he was very silly for doing what he did.
I think that's a very fair assessment by John Bond, but with that victory, Manchester City moved off the bottom of the First Division. Crystal Palace go back to the bottom, alas, after losing at Leeds 1-0. Leicester City beat Wolves, and Norwich had a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest. That's it. Well, tomorrow and Monday are crucial days for the future of football, with that big seminar discussing the problems in the game. Plenty of people will talk. Let's hope just as many will listen, and then will act. Not that there seem to be many problems at the moment at West Ham. 12 matches without defeat in the league, now second in the second division. 4 goals in European competition last Wednesday and 2 more points today. And the goal that turned out to be the winner against Bolton, well, that was a real beauty. No wonder they've got plenty to sing about at Upton Park these days. Good night to you all.
Graham. Devonshire. Got Goddard up, he's got Cross up, and he's got Neighbour away on his right. Neighbour flicking it in for Pike. Oh, tremendous goal by Pike!